Indonesia, a nation with a history of enduring frequent and devastating natural disasters, has confronted earthquakes, tsunamis, and landslides. Presently, Jakarta, the country's sprawling capital city, home to millions of residents, is confronted by the looming threat of sinking below sea level in the next few decades. In response to this pressing issue, the country's leadership has unveiled proposals to relocate the capital before it's too late, although the feasibility and effectiveness of this solution remain uncertain. Meanwhile, a significant portion of the population continues to reside in a city that is gradually subsiding. Jakarta presently holds the dubious distinction of being the most rapidly sinking city in the world. With its densely packed population, incessant traffic congestion, and an excess of motorcycles and automobiles, Jakarta is home to roughly 10 million residents, living in a bustling urban sprawl. The pressing concerns in Jakarta encompass air pollution, traffic gridlocks, and other numerous daily hardships faced by its residents. Yet there is a more profound issue on the horizon, as certain areas of the city are expected to be underwater in the next 3 decades, primarily due to the accelerating impact of global warming on rising sea levels. Jakarta is not alone in confronting this challenge, as coastal cities around the globe grapple with the implications of these rising sea levels. What renders Jakarta's predicament notably precarious, however, is ongoing subsidence. Year by year, the ground beneath Jakarta continues to sink, primarily attributed to excessive groundwater extraction, the construction of towering buildings, and the soft soil. On average, the city experiences subsidence of 1 to 15 centimetres annually, with certain areas sinking even faster. Today, in the heart of Jakarta, not everyone is a first-hand witness to the unfolding disaster. Yet in outlying areas beyond the city, lives are gradually being engulfed by the sea. We embarked on a journey from central Jakarta towards the northern part of the city, where the most palpable challenge comes to the forefront. The northern region has a rich history as a vital port and a traditional haven for fishing communities. Presently, this area is popular among affluent Indonesian Chinese families who've built their homes near the coast. Yet, over the past 10 years, the land in this area has subsided by as much as 2.5 meters. Nonetheless, homes and buildings are a common sight, while large houses are constructed on land that is elevated above sea level. Just a few hundred meters away, some houses are barely above sea level. This is the waterfront area of the city, which is below sea level. We entered the settlement, where the residents rely on 2-meter-high sea walls for protection. Should these vital barriers fail, these people would be the first to face catastrophe. Projections suggest that the sea could encroach by as much as 4 to 5 kilometers into the city. Nonetheless, they stand resolute and decline to consider relocation. Hundreds of lives endure within homes with deteriorating roofs and the pathways which are both damp and dimly lit.
Hello.
Eti Sekariati, a native Indonesian, has been a resident of this community for 35 years. She graciously guided us through her neighbourhood, where the persistent annual land subsidence has left her house with extensive deep cracks. Residences situated below sea level are prone to frequent flooding. This particular house was previously almost entirely submerged, evident from the lingering dark stains on its yellow walls caused by moisture. Even after the water receded, a lingering musty odour of damp clings to these abodes.
Lewatin saya.
Etty recounted that at the time, the floodwaters were over her head, leaving the marks on the walls when it receded. The deep-rooted connection to their homeland and the economic challenges they confront are the primary reasons why the residents in this community cannot move easily. The Indonesian government has been slowly relocating individuals from flood-prone areas to government-provided housing. Yet Etty has not yet been offered such an opportunity. She expressed her willingness to relocate if the government offers a viable plan. In the absence of an alternative, however, she has no choice but to continue residing in her current location. Likewise, Suhermi, the owner of this blue house, has not made the decision to relocate. Her residence stands right on the waterfront, vulnerable to imminent submersion. For decades, the homeowner has sustained herself primarily through selling food in the area, unaware of the substantial land subsidence that has taken place. All that she can discern firsthand is that her once beachfront property now lies below sea level. Suhermi said that the sea level was lower than her house when she was a child. It used to be a sandy beach where she enjoyed playing. As she grew up, though, the sea level continued to rise. Now no one can run and play on the sand like before. Today, the retreating coastline serves as a poignant reminder of a city slowly succumbing to the relentless advance of the sea. If this issue remains unaddressed over the next decade, this area could become one of the first casualties, disappearing beneath the waves.
If you want to see more great content from all over the world, please like the video, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you.
With an escalation in the rise of atmospheric and sea temperatures, the sea level undergoes a corresponding rise and encroaches upon the coastal areas. Currently, more than half of Jakarta is below sea level, prompting the construction of a substantial seawall along the city's coastline to protect it against the advancing waters. The once picturesque seaside views, sandy beaches and crashing waves have now been replaced by seawalls. Everything behind them is destined to sink gradually below the waterline, much like this mosque. The deteriorating and fragmented remnants of the mosque stand as a poignant reminder that the relentless advance of the sea threatens gradually to engulf everything in its path, and many homes in Jakarta may share a similar fate in the coming years. In 2015, the Netherlands, a former colonial power with a renowned expertise in flood protection, offered assistance to Indonesia. They introduced the concept of land reclamation for urban expansion and launched the construction of massive offshore seawalls at an estimated cost of $40 billion. Certain areas have already undergone reclamation, and additional sea walls have been erected further out to sea, exceeding the height of their predecessors. The substantial concrete wall, reaching a height of approximately 3 meters, represents just a fraction of this monumental undertaking. While it's estimated that this wall might safeguard Jakarta for an additional decade, it is an undeniable reality that sooner or later even this imposing structure will succumb to the relentless advance of the sea. The numerous boats floating adjacent to the sea wall serve as a constant reminder that the 10-year time frame might be an overly optimistic outlook. That fateful day may arrive sooner than expected. Moreover, as the land continues to subside every year, and city walls must be built higher and higher, coupled with the persistent encroachment of the sea, some experts contend that it's essentially a matter of delaying the inevitable, as eventually all protective barriers will slip below the waves, alongside the city.
I don't see any relevance of the giant seawall to the problem of land subsidence. Actually, it could be posing a new problem, because the wall itself will also subside. Yeah, if you don't stop the land subsidence, wherever you put the wall on the sea, the floor of the sea might also subside. Yeah.
The challenges faced in Indonesia diverge from those encountered in the Netherlands, which has led to difficulties in devising solutions for Indonesia's water-related issues. Not only are the giant seawalls incapable of providing comprehensive protection against flooding in Jakarta, they also have the potential to give rise to new complications. One such issue pertains to the livelihoods of local fishermen. Tandy, a 65-year-old fisherman, has been spearheading a protest against the construction of extensive seawalls for the past 2 years. The ongoing land reclamation for the construction of these barriers along the coastline has resulted in sediment accumulation, posing a growing challenge for tens of thousands of fishermen, including Tandy, in their pursuit of their livelihoods. Tandy expressed his concern that the construction of large seawalls will reduce his ability to catch fish. What worries him more, though, is that building them will lead to more large ships mooring, and the sea would no longer be an open area. He believes that small-scale fishermen like him would have to yield to the larger vessels entering the area. As a result, it'll become more difficult for the general fishing community to launch their boats and catch fish. At present, the Netherlands' plan to build massive sea barriers has been shelved, leaving Jakarta to contend with the impending threat of sinking beneath the sea. Over the past 5 decades, Jakarta has experienced a significant subsidence of approximately 4 meters, almost equivalent to the height of a 2-story house. The primary cause of this is the excessive extraction of groundwater for various uses. The removal of groundwater from beneath the surface leads to the subsidence of the upper layers of soil, resulting in the gradual sinking of houses, buildings and infrastructure, ultimately causing the city's elevation to fall below sea level. During the monsoon season, when rainfall is abundant, the river's water level rises but cannot discharge into the sea efficiently. As a result, the city effectively transforms into a basin, facing serious flooding. In 2013, areas of Jakarta found themselves submerged under about 2 meters of water, necessitating the residents' use of boats for transportation. Beyond the immediate challenges of flooding and the city's incapacity to discharge rainwater into the sea during heavy downpours, Jakarta confronts the ongoing problem of the sea progressively encroaching further into the urban area. The crucial measure to prevent further sinking of Jakarta is to curb the excessive extraction of groundwater. This endeavour is, however, proving to be both time-consuming and challenging. As of now, only 1 out of every 3 households has access to piped water. For Putri, an Indonesian woman, and others in the community, pumping groundwater for daily necessities such as drinking, washing and cooking remains the norm, as the installation of piped water is a slow, laborious and costly process. Groundwater has become the most accessible and cleanest source. Putri says she uses groundwater for everything, from drinking to washing clothes and bathing. This is the most affordable source of water she can find, and many people in this area come to pump groundwater from here. She mentioned that there are other groundwater pumps nearby, but the water from this one is the cleanest.
It's similar to our traffic problem, To persuade people not to use car, you have to provide sufficient and comfortable public transport. So to tell people not to use groundwater, you have to provide sufficient and quality piped water.
The main obstacle preventing Jakarta from establishing a water pipeline system is the inadequate supply of clean water. Remarkably, Jakarta is notorious for having one of the world's most polluted rivers flowing through it, despite the presence of up to 13 rivers traversing the city. Regrettably, these rivers can only meet a mere 2% of the city's water demand, given their high pollution levels, rendering the water unsuitable for consumption. The city is also burdened by the daily responsibility of extracting a considerable volume of debris from its rivers, ranging from tree branches to household items and plastic bottles. This issue arises from the lack of proper waste disposal systems in the communities along the waterways. Despite the presence of numerous garbage trucks dedicated to cleaning up, the rivers will remain contaminated as long as individuals persist in discarding their waste in the water. Mahbib Kairon, a local government official, stated that this problem will only go away when the public becomes aware. No law or measure can solve the problem if the public still considers this dumping of trash into the river as normal. Jakarta is not alone in grappling with these concerns. Tokyo has also had to deal with rapid subsidence as a result of excessive groundwater extraction. In the 1950s, Tokyo identified the sources of the problem and promptly enacted regulations pertaining to groundwater extraction, successfully resolving the subsidence problem within a span of 20 years.
Other societies like the Tokyo communities have managed to stop the problem, so I think we can. But I think, yes, the whole population need to be aware of that and need to be serious about it. Yeah.
Following the 2019 election, however, President Joko Widodo asserted the urgent need for Indonesia to relocate its capital due to the immense challenges confronting Jakarta. Nonetheless, the process of transitioning from what was once the epicenter of activity will inevitably be time-consuming. Furthermore, millions of residents have yet to relocate, and the economic hub persists. Today, over 10 million people continue to wrestle with the reality that without concerted and effective problem-solving measures, certain parts of Jakarta will transform into an underwater city within the next 3 decades. The conditions in Jakarta serve as a testament to inadequate city governance and humanity's disregard for the environment. The disregard of minor issues has become the underlying source of a singular problem, and the accumulation of numerous similar issues has coalesced into a formidable surge of grave challenges inundating Jakarta. While constructing water barriers is one solution, it only addresses a specific facet of the problem, while potentially giving rise to other complications. An alternative approach is city relocation, which is likely to introduce a different set of challenges. On January the 1st, 2022, the Indonesian Parliament passed a bill that would pave the way for the relocating of the capital city from Jakarta, which is situated on the island of Java, to the province of East Kalimantan, located on the island of Borneo. The new capital would be named Nusantara. Indonesia initiated the construction of Nusantara in mid-2022. Shortly after the construction commenced, the new capital project encountered vehement criticism from environmental activists and local communities. They contended that the project was leading to substantial environmental degradation, affecting the habitats of endangered species, such as orangutans, and displacing local communities. Despite the challenges, the Indonesian government is determined to inaugurate the new capital city, with the first phase slated for August the 17th, 2024, coinciding with Indonesia's Independence Day. Moving beyond environmental concerns, The paramount question of whether the relocation of a capital city, home to over 10 million people, can be accomplished in a timely and efficient manner arises. When the combination of land subsidence and rising sea levels is not just a common problem, but rather a complex emergency.